Hey everyone, welcome back to Ontario Gardening. So today we are planting garlic and I'm going to tell you all about how to and when to and go through all the facts. So the first thing to note is your zone. So I'm in zone 5B, so I am in a colder climate. I get nice harsh winters here in Canada. So I am going to look for a hard neck variety. So here's the difference between a hard neck variety and a soft neck. So your soft neck variety are the typical ones that you're going to find at the grocery store. It's grown in warmer climates. It does better in warmer climates. It produces faster, a little bit smaller of a bulbs, even though there's more cloves, but it's basically a fast production garlic, and that's why we're getting it. They also do store longer, and that's why we find them at the grocery store, because these can last a year in a nice, cool, dry, and dark place. Hardneck, on the other hand, so here's the difference, is this was really soft once upon a time. This has a nice hard neck at the top. So these prefer the colder climates. They like to be dormant in the winter in a nice cold ground, and then start to bloom in the summer. So typically you will see, as you can see just from here to there, this is a bigger bulb. They get even bigger depending on how long they're in the ground. Like, you can get them the size of your hand. So they typically grow bigger. They don't store as long as this one. It's only about 8 months, but you could push it to a year. And the difference is that the cloves are bigger. So bigger garlic, little less storage, better for here in Canada. So for those lower zones. So we are going to plant the hardneck. So that is basically going to be on you to do your research on different varieties of hardneck versus softneck. First, determine where you are in the world and how what you're going to do, soft or hard. And once you determine that, you can pick out varieties, pick out some seed garlic. Now, the one question that a lot of people ask is, can I just buy a bulb from the store and plant it? Short answer, you could. You definitely could. Now, in my area where we are in October, things are getting cold and I'm going into that harsh winter, I don't necessarily want to get something from the grocery store because I know it's probably going to be a soft neck, and they don't do as well as hard necks in my area. So the best thing you can do is either go to your nursery or even a big box store, and you'll find something called seed garlic, and basically it's been garlic picked apart and individual cloves is in a bag, because then you can pick out the variety based on your area. The other thing to do is you could go to your local market or a local farm and get a couple bulbs from there and use it as seed garlic, because they're already growing it in your area, and it's likely that they'll know the variety if you talk to them, and we know that it's going to work in your area because it's already been grown in your area. So for me, I'm scrapping the soft neck, I'm going in for the hard neck. This variety is called Music. It's actually very typically grown in my area. It's actually a very common hard neck variety of garlic. If you look up hard neck variety, Music will probably come up there. So I'm gonna plant some hard neck. I will show you how in a minute. And determining when you're planting garlic. So for me, I'm almost to Halloween. It's almost the end of October in my area. It's a perfect time. The temperatures are pretty cool both in the day and in the evening, as you can see. We're not wanting to plant, say, at the end of September or early October, because we haven't really hit a frost yet. The temperatures aren't that cool yet. Like, as you can see, my asparagus is still green. Things are still having a chance to technically sprout. So if I plant these too early, they can start sprouting, and we don't really want that. We want them to lay dormant in the ground, similar to a tulip. If you plant tulips in and around the same time you're going to want to plant the garlic, you're looking for the ground to not be frozen, but nice and cool, the temperature to be nice and cool. This way it's not going to start growing. We don't really want it to start growing and then die off and then try to come back in the spring. There is a chance that they don't come back, or it's ruined your cloves. So planting, super simple. I've got the top off here. I've exposed the cloves. And you're going to start to want to break that garlic head apart until you get individual cloves. And we can leave it just right in the paper. And as you can see, I've got my garlic clove paper still on, but look how big, like, that's almost the size of my thumb. You don't typically find garlic in the store this big, and that's why this is hardneck is great in my area to grow. This is gonna grow nice and large. Mind my dirty hands. But let's go actually plant it in the garden, and I will show you how to do that. So they recommend planting garlic cloves about 4 inches apart. I've got my holes pre-done here. And the reason for that is because each one of these cloves is going to produce an entire garlic head. So we want them to have enough space to grow. So I'm going to come into my hole, and we've got it about 4 inches deep. You don't want to plant it too deep, but you also don't want to plant it too shallow, because we don't want over the winter time these little cloves to pop up and over the ground. So about 4 inches does the trick. I just kind of follow the tulip rule, and I've had success with that. So we are looking at your garlic, and sorry for the camera. Here we have our garlic in our hand, and we've got our flat end on the bottom and the pointy end at the top, and that's typically how it would have sat on that garlic clove. The roots would have been at the bottom here. We are planting flat down, point up. The flat is down so that the roots can begin to come, like, sprout again, and the point is where the green's going to come out and eventually come over top of the garden. So we are covering this up here. You want to make just a little mound and then mulch on top for that winter. So I am using some straw or whatever mulch you use, whether that looks like leaves, wood chips, whatever, but you want to mulch nice and generous over the top of the entire bed. So I'm going to get planting here and show you what that looks like when we're done. So as you can see, they're all planted in. We're going to cover them up. So I've got them covered all nice up. I've marked mine so that I kind of know where they are for my own purposes, because this is actually going to be an Italian garden. So I'm going to have tomatoes in behind, and I'm going to do probably some onions and then some basil and stuff all in here. So I want to mark off where this garlic is, so I know if they haven't sprouted in the spring exactly yet, when I plant things like onions, I know where they are. And now I've got a decent layer of mulch on there. I'm going to take the hose, wet this down. This way the mulch, because I'm using straw, stays nice and in place, because I get lots of wind here. So that is basically it for planting garlic. You're going to see them start to sprout early spring. They'll continue to grow. If you check back in next year, you'll see how this is doing. I do monthly garden tours, usually starting in June, and I can kind of show you how it looks from there. But that is the gist of when and how to plant garlic. See you in the next video. Bye.